be honest with you, man. Like when I had my daughter, I was just like, okay, it's gonna be rough dealing with the blended family and all of that, but like I felt secure in myself and about being a father because I always wanted to be a father. But when I found out I was having sons, uh, man, like all this insecurity just poured out of me, bro. That
Really?
I didn't even know it was there because it was like, what I know about raising a boy, what I know about raising a man. I don't know nothing because my daddy wasn't there.
Mm.
And that stuff, like it was so thick that like I remember me and my wife were riding through Starbucks talking about just the baby, and I just started crying. And she was like, "What's wrong with you, man?" And I was just like, "Yo, I don't know the first thing about teaching a man how to be a man, honestly." And so I love you, Daddy.
This is For Fathers, a podcast for fathers to uplift and encourage each other with the understanding that we are the forefathers of the next generation. I'm eloQuint. This is episode 122. I got my man Tremaine Baker, man. Tell everybody what's up.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on, man. I know it's been a minute. Been trying to get you on, man. Going back and forth, man. Life, you know how it goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we had talked about it off air, man. We was at the park the other day. Our kids had a little singing thing, chorus thing, or whatever, man. It's so easy to complain, especially when you have like co-parenting situations, especially when you the vagaries of the day. Just like, yeah, I don't want to do it today, man. We was like, man, but like, why would we complain when we got our kids when life is good, man? When you speak to that, man, how like trying not to complain even when there's plenty to complain about.
Yeah, man. As I was reflecting on some of the things you were saying about how you really look at the positives, and I was thinking, wow, that's pretty cool because perspective is everything. I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit of a pessimist. I know I'm blessed and I have a ton to be grateful and thankful for, but I do have a tendency to see what's wrong, right? Like that's just my innate way of being. And over the last few years as an adult, I've really reflected on that and I'm honest about it. And I do think you got to give yourself space to speak out loud what's bothering you, right? But then you got to know when to cut that off and focus on the good things. So yeah, complaining is something I've been known to do. Um, I'm starting to get better at that though. I mean, I know this is not a spiritual podcast, but I'm starting to pray about it. I'm starting to, man, all you got to do is look around, bro. If you look around, you'll see you'll see all you have, but you'll see somebody who's worse off than you in some kind of way. And the reality of life is, man, we go from glory to glory, from challenge to challenge, bro. That's it. And challenge and pain is consistent. So you might as well be going towards improvement and positivity, because sitting around being negative, whining, crying, that's pain. But if you're not doing nothing about it, it's just you're just doing it in something that's never gonna change. So I'm working on that, but I am a pessimist, bro.
Yeah. Well, whatever the mind go, the body follows, right?
For
And
sure.
you know,
Yeah.
Philippians 4 talks about, focus on those good things, the lovely things, the pure and praiseworthy things, man. And then talks about getting that peace and the God of peace.
Yeah.
And so it is like that's what you got to focus on. But I think you are right, but there is a space for you to vent, to express yourself when it is going wrong. because I mean, to hold it all in, as we men tend to do, like we do hold it all in. I think it can be detrimental, but it's also I'm venting, but it doesn't mean you stay there. Like something my wife always says, like, all right, this is happening right now, but don't stay there, don't sit in it. Just like you said, just focus on something else. So I definitely think there's some validity to that too, though. Like I said, us man, we don't talk enough. That's another reason for the podcast, man. We don't talk enough.
Be careful who you vent to, as well, because everybody is not mature enough to hear what you have to say and then give you grace, and then not bring it up later and not tell your story to somebody else and all these things. So you have to be careful who you vent to, how you vent. Make sure it's somebody who is mature enough, who has love for you first and foremost, but also has high character, who can like guide you and call you on your BS, right? Because sometimes we like to talk to our yes men, the homie that's gonna be like, yeah, bro, you do the same thing, yada 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 yada. Nah, that's all well and good, but sometimes you need your homie to be like, yo, but have you done what you got to do? Have you done this? Have you thought about this? And so that iron sharpens iron is important, man, when you venting to people, because the wrong person to keep, they're just pulling you down where you're already headed, and that's not what you want.
So how you go about vetting that person to talk to? Because man, I'm in a season where I'm trying to find people like other believers that really just chop it up. I'm not like a super social person. Like I can get along and get along, but like I'm not about like let's go hang out. That's not really me. But like I do want like the men to really just to somebody just to chop it up with, like somebody you could vent to, or just even get spiritual guidance in, man. So how do you vet that when it is somebody you can vent to?
So for one, I talk to men in my family, and I would not say just because they're family you can talk to them, because that ain't true either. but I probably have like 2 or 3 men in my family that I will go to, and I know I could say whatever's on my mind, and they're gonna give me some non-judgmental guidance. When it comes to like friends and stuff like that, I'm really led based on their character and what I know they have the capacity for and what they don't. Like, all right, I'm dealing with some financial something or whatever. I will talk to my man who's good over here with that, right? I want to, and like I have certain friends that like I might want to talk to them about spiritual things, but they ain't gonna have nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? They didn't grow up going to church and that kind of thing. So I really, I guess I curate where I take my venting based on the subject matter. But I got about 3 men in my family, man, who like that's who I go to for anything. And then as far as friends, I just I feel led. I feel led before I say certain things, and I look at their life. Like you hang with somebody, you ain't got. It don't take long to see their character, bro. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because Lord knows I ain't. But you'll see somebody's character real quick, and the moment I see like, we can chill, but I ain't telling you my business, because you don't have the character for it. So yeah,
that's real. I think for me, it always comes down to the spiritual. Like, is that person not just not just going to church, but somebody actually living that life, like you said, their character, how they live in their life. Because I know if you are in that, you're gonna give me sound advice. You're gonna give me something that's led by the Spirit. You're gonna give me something that's biblically sound, or you're not gonna give me something that's worldly, that's gonna get me out there. Because back in the day, I don't know about you, but like, yeah, bro, you go talk to that girl. Okay, we got a girlfriend, don't matter. Like I don't need that kind of advice. Right? You used to be there. I used to be there. So
yeah, that's I hate to say it, that dominates male culture. Is we confuse the prowess of getting women with masculinity, and they're not one and the same. But we fall into that trap. I fell into that trap. I was a hoe. That's not. I hope I can say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can take it out later if I can't. But
I was there too, bro. I was there.
Yeah, but I mean, and then if I'm honest, like some of the most drama-filled pain in my life was tied to females and my behavior. You know what I'm saying? And so marriage as hard as it can be, I'm pretty sure it probably saved my life, man. So I'm gonna do what I can to stay married. I got a good woman, and we go through our trials and tribulations, but for the most part, we have been great the last 10 years or so, honestly. And so try and keep that going. We have our moments now, but the valleys come a lot less than they used to back when we first got married. When we first got married, Lord, I'm an alpha
Yeah.
man, and I'm married to an alpha female, and so we used to do
Yeah.
this a lot. But yeah.
How I get through that, man? Like what was the remedy? Because I mean, I couldn't imagine. I dated an alpha one time. And I said, oh yeah, nah, because I got that on me too. So I'm like, nah, I can't do this. You ain't gonna try to you ain't gonna try to big dog me, that.
Man, how do we? I think at the end of the day, we both are really good humans. Now that's not enough. That's not enough to get a relationship work. But we both are good people. And we went through a phase where we split up. And I think in that split, I think we realized we had an appreciation and a bigger love for one another. We also realized some of the mess we was fighting over was like, bro, it was small potatoes. Even now, I look sometimes in the midst of a situation, I'm like, man, I am so sick of this or sick of that. And then I go hear what somebody else going through, and I'll be like, yo, I'm tripping because we ain't going through nothing like that. We like none of the craziness you hear people going through with crazy in-law stuff. And I'm like, we ain't none of that. We both come from good stock. And so I think some of that is just maturing, waiting to speak after you've gathered your emotions. Because I used to fly off, bro. Like whatever came to the dome, I sent it. And then I had to deal with that for 5 years because you remember you said X. You remember you said X. You bring it back up, but I think a lot of it was just having space and realizing that we actually appreciated and loved one another, and then just maturity. You like after you do something 20 times, you start to. I'm sure you can relate on this. You start to see an argument coming before it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'd be like, all right, if I say this or if I do this, this is what's going to happen because that's how it used to be. And so you just avoid them situations, bro. Yeah. Unless it just needs to happen. Sometimes you need to argue about something, but if it ain't needed, I let it go.
You think some of that pessimistic mindset aided to that?
I mean, probably that's a good question. I think I would have to think about it to really articulate where and how. But probably. Again, like not having the best filter and then being a pessimist. So if I saw a situation and I saw this negative, I speak on it in a negative way. And so here she is annoyed because I'm speaking my truth, whether my truth is slandered or not. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure it impacted us in some types of ways. And she had a big head. A big head still got a big head in a lot of areas. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm sure it contributed.
Yeah. So this is a tie to the conversation we just had. You talked about how, us men are conditioned, lustfully, if you will, man. How did that impact, I guess, some of your thoughts when it comes to marriage? Like how those things are supposed to be, were you comparing the things that you had before? It's like, man,
going down a hole. I don't know. I think you have to really do some introspective searching and recognize what's healthy, because God made me a warm-blooded male, and my desire for you is natural. So, hey, every now and then, more than every now and then, let's go. We got to get this thing popping. And so I don't pull back my punches on that. I'm gonna be that way for a long time.
Yeah.
But then you have to really evaluate yourself and say what's normal, what's of God, and then what's not, right? And she not gonna do all this mess that I used to do back in the day, right? That's just not how it's gonna pop off.
Yeah.
Also, my wife is killing it in the corporate world. We got 3 boys together. They're playing sports. They got therapies. They got this. They got that. Like, she can't clone herself. You know what I'm saying? And so as our days and our hours fill up, that expectation has to change too. I think it's just doing some introspection to say, okay, what needs really need to be met and what needs is me trying to fill a void of lack of purpose or having some other issue, and I'm trying to solve it with sex. Because honestly, that's
Right.
something I used to do once upon a time as well.
You know
Man,
it.
I'm speaking out here for real. I didn't plan on all this. Yeah, just being introspective, bro, and really evaluating self is something I think we should honestly do daily. We don't do it daily, but we should take inventory every single day, honestly. Yeah, and that's part of
Yeah.
prayer. If if you're a spiritual person, praying is really it's you're talking to God, but you're also evaluating yourself at the same time because you're thinking about what do I need to bring to God? What do I need to say? What do I need to
Mhm.
be honest about? Because He already knows. But what do I need to just verbally say to God that I'm struggling with? When you do that, you're evaluating yourself at the same time.
Nah, that's real. Most
Yeah.
definitely. And you listen and see what God gonna say.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's real. I mean, I asked that because, man, I'm early in marriage, man. It's almost 2 years. I'm real early in marriage, so sometimes I find myself like one being jealous and stingy with my time. Like, man, I know we got a newborn and stuff, but what about me?
Yeah.
What about me? I mean,
Yeah.
not even just the physical, just the old intimacy. You know what I mean? Just
Right.
the time we had. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes you find yourself, at least I did, find myself just being pessimistic, if you will. You know what I mean? Like looking at the
Yeah.
bad stuff and then complaining about that stuff and causing riff and wrath in the house when you don't need to.
Yeah.
Uh,
Man, and like that time thing is tough because a lot of times you got to set the stage for what you want, right? Like if I know I'm trying to get busy this week, and I know I hadn't done certain things around the house, or I hadn't taken her on that date in a while, or I hadn't done certain things. It's like I got to set the stage, bro. I got to do certain things to make that avenue a little bit easier. And what I'm not saying is I'm not about that trade off, that barter system. Look,
mm-hmm.
if I'm a present husband and father, you should jump these bones just cause. That's honestly like how the alpha in me thinks. But also, I gotta realize I'm not married to myself. I'm married to somebody with a whole different paradigm and way of thinking. And so I try, and not all the time, but sometimes or half the time or whatever, I try and put myself in her shoes and be like, all right, I know her. I know if I really, I need to set the stage and set the mood, get the babysitter, check out on a date, do those things. So sometimes if you want, like I said, you want that stage from her, you might have to. And y'all got a newborn, so it's rough right now. And sometimes you just got to realize you're gonna be in a rough phase. But if you have anybody you trust, right? If there's a grandma present, or a sister present, or somebody who you trust to watch a newborn, which I'm sure is a short list, hey, bring them in, like, you know what I'm saying, every 2 weeks or something, to give y'all a few hours to go have dinner and just chat it up. Um, because if you got it, use it, because that rejuvenates you, bro.
Yeah, it's
It
definitely
does.
easy to get lost in the day to day.
Yeah, and this is one thing me and my wife came to Jesus on and talked about. Like we were complaining and talking about each other. You don't do this, you don't do that. And then we were having dinner one night, and we were like, the things we argue about, we're arguing about the children and the blessings that we have. Because none of these things we didn't fight about them before we had children. And so, like, yo, let's stop going at each other, because the reality is this is just heavy right now. And sometimes I feel like men do a better job of this. Somebody gonna be mad at me, but I don't care. I feel like sometimes, like, we're able to accept that this is just a rough phase right now, and I'm just in this rough phase. Whereas sometimes they don't see it that way. They see it as, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that, And so, but like, that was a breakthrough moment for us, and we probably need to have one. I don't know, every 6 months or so. But it was like, yeah, we fighting about the things we pray for and ask God for. So
That's real.
let's not fight
That's
about it. Yeah,
it's about perspective again, right?
yeah, for sure.
That's the fundamental thing right here. And so, even sticking on marriage, man, you got to add an element. I got to add an element. We got kids outside of marriage.
Hmm.
Um, when you first started out, man, was that rough? Trying to
Boy,
try to integrate your wife into your life with, you got another mother out there, who
Yeah,
maybe
it was it was extremely rough. It was extremely rough. It was rough on both sides. It was rough because my baby mama she wasn't mature, and some of the things that she was doing and saying, and like anytime there was a joint venture, birthday party, she wasn't friendly to my wife, and like her family followed suit with all this immature BS and stuff like that, and it was rough. Um, on the same token, it takes a very special person for you to marry somebody and them not be insecure about a tie that you have with another human. And so I went through some of that with my wife. I had to convince her all the time that if that's what I wanted, I'd still be over there. Um, and so we went through that. We went through the differences in how do I say this? The differences in like I guess paradigms of how she would raise her kids if she had them, because she didn't at that point in time. It was just me with the daughter, and I was of the mindset, yo, you ain't finna tell me how to raise my kid, because hey, nah, it was like you don't have the love for her yet, so you can't dictate nothing. That was just kind of how my mindset was, and so we had to get through that, and we did. Um, and you know, honestly, it took some time, but it wasn't crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why you have to make sure you try and be with somebody who has a good heart. Because if your heart is decent, you'll self correct to a point, right? Like I know when I'm wrong and I say something wrong or whatever, it bothers me, and so I have to go and fix that behavior, or else I'll stay bothered. Um, yeah, but it was yeah, we had a rough patch, bro. We had a rough patch. It was rough. Like, it was rough. Like I would try and like, my wife would come up with this idea where she's X, Y, and Z. She's thinking this and she's doing that. I'm like, no, she ain't. Like, no, she ain't. And then the girl will go and do something to prove my wife right. Right. I was like, you know what? I'm like, oh my, you felt like, and I'm sure you can attest to this, you felt like you were in the middle being torn apart at times. Your situation might be totally different, though. Yours might be different, but I felt like I was juggling chainsaws sometimes, like trying not to, because there's certain things I had to do as far as the baby mama to not make her mad, so I can go see my daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, but it got to a point where I had to get to a point where I stood on what was right, and I didn't care what came next. Not that I didn't care, I just accepted what came next.
Yeah.
So sometimes that meant telling her, "Look, yo, you wild and you need to chill out." And then, I will get hung up on for the next 2 weeks. Or she do crazy stuff like block me from calling and stuff like that. And I went through that. Um, but I persevered through it. Me and my daughter we have a great relationship, bro. Like she's in college now, so I ain't even got to go through her mom. and me and my mama, we're cool now. We're cool now. But it's also cool to not have to go through it if I don't want to.
Yeah. You have to have that option. Hit
Yeah,
that cell phone up.
yeah. Me and my daughter talk on a regular basis, man. She's in college. I get up and have lunch. I try to have like lunch or dinner with her like at least once a month. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer than that, but yeah, our relationship is good. And so I'm seeing the harvest of my labor. You know what I'm saying? Like sticking with it, because there were times it was like, bro,
Is it worth it?
I gotta deal with this for 18 years.
Yeah.
18 years, like Kanye said. And it also felt like, honestly, it was like, who is she gonna be? My daughter. Who is she gonna be? Because it's like you start to doubt your influence. At least I did. You start to doubt, like, yo, she ain't gonna be nothing like me. The paradigms and the
Mhm.
beliefs and stuff that I carry, she's not gonna have them because she ain't with me. But that's a lie. Because if you put the time in with your children and you show them love, they might not realize it in the moment, but they always harken back to that. And so I see my daughter in certain situations and she'll say certain things and I'll be like, yo, it like she listened to me what I said 10 years ago. Even though she might get
Mhm.
acting and she heard me. You know what I'm saying? So it's worth it, man. It's
But that's
definitely
encouraging to me, man, because that's one of my biggest fears. Like,
yeah,
is my influence big enough? Because
yeah,
it's not an everyday thing. You know,
right,
you talking once or twice a week, and if that, right? So it's good to hear, man. She's in college and she gravitated towards you still. So sometimes I worry
yeah,
about that. Man, I got my only difference in my situation is, man, we had to go to immediate blending of the family.
mm,
She came in with a daughter, and then I had three when we got married. So, and I
yeah.
got two different moms. So it's just a little different, man. And one of
Oh yeah,
them was similar to you. Another one wasn't as out there with it. At least I learned a little bit later how things can be different. But yeah, bro, like that's real encouraging to hear that
yeah.
she still listen and hear it, man. So like, I guess talk about that process of you. What did you do to try to make sure your influence was her? Like, was there specific things you did, or you just stay steady? Like what? Like, what
So
was your thought
basically,
process throughout?
I had to fight for mediation. I had to get a lawyer, and then we stopped just short of going to court at mediation. She pulled a thing once she realized that I was getting married. She started playing a keep away game. And at first, like she found out I had a girlfriend I was serious about, it was like child support. Okay. I mean, we never argued about money at all. Whatever she needed, I gave it to her. But because I had a girlfriend now, it was like, I'll fix you child support.
Mhm.
And so, okay, cool. I paid that. Um, then when I got married, she she did the keep away thing for a while. And yo, that that took me to a real dark place.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. To have a kid out in this world that and I can't go see her.
Mhm.
Like hatred in my heart was on 10. I am not gonna hold you. And
Right.
I was
Ready to
talking.
do unspeakable things.
Yeah, I was talking to like one of those men I was telling you about, my cousin, and he hit me like, "Yo, that's not of God. You can't say that. You can't. You got to fix that because even though she wrong, you can't say that. You can't feel that way. And well, not that you can't feel that way, but you gotta go work on that." And
Mhm.
so I remember, and it's crazy. I'm debating like, do I go get a lawyer? Because it's like once you do that, it's bad, but it's getting ready to get a whole lot worse, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's like I kid you not, the day I decided to hire a lawyer is I finally got through her the next day, and she was like, "All right, you come see her." And I was like, "Ah, man, do I go cancel it now?"
Mhm.
And I chose not to. I went and saw my daughter, and it was I can't remember how long I went without seeing her. I felt like it was like 9 months or something like that, which is a long time for an infant. You know what I'm saying? A long time.
Mhm.
And I was worried she wasn't gonna know who I was, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. Um, and then shortly after I left, she got the paperwork and all that, and all hell hit the fan. And I didn't see her for a long time until we had that mandatory mediation. And in that mediation, we kind of agreed, and then the magistrate, or not the magistrate, but whoever the person is, was like, "All right, this is all well and good, y'all agree, but like, until this processes, you still, And I'm like, so I can go see my daughter now?" She was like, "No, you got to wait for all this paperwork and yada yada yada."
Sheesh.
Man, I was in that room and I just started bawling, bro. Like, and I don't cry like that, especially in front of people. I just like, you mean to tell me I got to go through another 6 months or whatever this is? And I almost lost it. I was just sitting there crying. And that's like one of the first times I saw my baby mama's humanity in a long time, because she touched me and she was like, "You come see her. You come see her." Like, sorry, whatever. So yeah, we went through it, man. We went through it for a long time, and then we got to a point where it was easy street. We understood the boundaries. It was one of those things we were never going to be best of friends. We were never going to have. We just saw the world too differently. Our paradigms were different. Our upbringings were different. I'm not saying it's one's worse than the other. It's just we were different.
Right.
And so, and so like we're cool now. But yeah, it was rough. I'll say it was rough for like 10 plus years. Off and on, it was rough.
Did it ever show in your daughter? Like, did she ever go this season? Your daughter go through a season of like resenting you, or maybe things that she may been heard, maybe through the grapevine or whatever. Did it ever cause a strain in your relationship?
My daughter is the type that she's a steel trap. She's a very like non-emotional, quiet person. So it's hard to tell when she ain't, you know what I'm saying? She ain't hitting on all cylinders. What she never did is she never gave me attitude. She never disrespected me. She always valued the way I saw her and the thing, like out of the two parents, I was the more strict parent. And so if anything, sometimes she would be annoyed with like, all right, when you come around me, you got to be like this. And then you go home, whatever. And so a lot of times based on what she wanted, I wouldn't find out about certain things until after the fact, because she knew if I knew, then the answer was going to be no.
Right.
But my daughter never really showed any resentment. And later on in life, like, because now we have adult conversations because she's in college. Later on, I found out like there was, her mama had threw a little salt my way in her ears, which I never did. I never said anything negative about my daughter's mother, because like you ain't doing yourself nor your kid no favors when you do that. It's just
nope.
But later on in life, we had some conversations, and she was like, "Yeah, Mama said this," or she'd ask me, "Daddy, why did you do that?" And I was like, "Oh, so that's how she phrased it when she told you the story." And so I try to navigate that conversation with truth, but also still being respectful to her mother at the same time. Yeah, so to answer your question, no, my daughter never really ever came to me with like, I'm not saying she didn't have those feelings, but she never came to me like, like I can't stand you. You did my mama X, Y, and Z. Like, no. And she never knew us together. So she never had that like that heartbreak of like my parents split, because she never knew us together. Yeah.
No, that's real. That's real. So you had that experience, right? And now you got married. Now you started having your own sons and your own kids. Well, not your own kids, but like kids in the house. Sorry, kids in the house. So what was one thing, or maybe a couple things that you was like, I'm gonna do this differently, or I'm gonna not necessarily differently. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make sure I do this because I didn't get a chance to do it last time. Was there certain things that you just really just like, yo, I'm a real dad now. I'm gonna do like, I don't know about you, but I felt that way. Like, I didn't feel like a real dad until I started having them in the house with me full time. I got to go to the daycare. I got to do all this kind of stuff. I didn't get those experiences. It's always a outside looking in type thing. So was there certain things that you just, looking forward to, I guess?
I can't say that there's anything in particular that like I look forward to except for just like seeing them every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I wish there was something I could name. It was very different for one, because my first was a girl, and then the next three were boys. And so I've always been the kind of dad like, yo, I'm gonna be present at everything I could be present for, even with my daughter. Now, did I make every single game? No, but like I'm gonna make a lot of them games, because it was an hour and a half drive. But like, yo, I'm driving down there. I'm going, like, she saw me at anything she ever did. She saw me at those events. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that stems from, wanting to be a good dad, but like my dad was like that joker was not present at all. I met my dad when I was 9. He came to like one football game I had, and like I went off. And did I go off just cause? I think I went off because I knew my dad was out there. I wanted to show him, like, look, this is what you missed out on, boy. So I can't speak to anything that I felt like I did differently, and maybe I should have been more, retrospective in that. But I think I'll be honest with you, man. like when I had my daughter, I was just like, okay, it's gonna be rough dealing with the blended family and all of that, but like I felt secure in myself and about being a father because I always wanted to be a father. But when I found out I was having sons, uh, man, like all this insecurity just poured out of me, bro. And
Really?
I didn't even know it was there because it was like, what I know about raising a boy, what I know about raising a man. I don't know nothing because my daddy wasn't there. And that stuff, like it was so thick that like I remember me and my wife were riding through Starbucks talking about just the baby, and I just started crying. And she was like, "What's wrong with you, man?" And I was just like, "Yo, I don't know, I don't know the first thing about teaching a man how to be a man, honestly." And so I remember having those insecurities um, about having sons, and yeah, uh, being a father. Period. You'll see yourself as a humbling experience. You know this. You'll see your faults a lot more often, a lot quicker. At least if you're trying to do it better. Um, I've had to work on my patience, especially with boys, because that you're different. You're innately different with boys. You feel an immense responsibility to raise men, so you tend to be harder on boys. That's how most men are. I'm no different. And so I find myself really having to grow in my security as a man and making sure I lead more with love than I lead with, that toughness and that
Get
my
that iron fist.
yeah. Man, and there's nothing stronger, I think, than a boy that was loved. You know what I'm saying? Like we think toughness and masculinity comes from all the toxic stuff, the hard this and the hard that, and that's part of it. But like being loved by a strong male figure and having that the security of that love, that boy can go out and do anything. He won't succumb to peer pressure as much because he got love at the crib. You know what I'm saying? So for
Nah,
me,
that's powerful.
yeah. I can't think of going back to your question. Sorry, I drove down a
No, you
different path.
good.
Yeah, I can't think of something I did differently, but I know raising sons has been different. Like my daughter always had that softness and that love for me. I mean, I was tough on her too, but with the boys,
Something about them daughters, man.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's like that's your heart. And then I don't know if you went through this, but like when my daughter came into the world, I started seeing every woman as like, yo, that's somebody's daughter. Like, oh man,
Gotta
that's
grow
somebody's
up for
daughter.
real.
Like all the horn I was doing, it went silent for a while, bro, because it was like, yeah, I ain't doing nobody like that. Like, I don't want nobody doing her like that. And whatever umpteen years, right? So at least for me, like my testosterone took a major dip. I learned later that's actually like a physiological thing that happens to most men in order to keep
Really?
them present and make them better fathers. That their testosterone takes a dip when the children are first born.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man, that's real. Yeah, I definitely stopped. Before, I didn't care about breaking no hearts, man. But I definitely stopped. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I ain't gonna do none of that. That's kind of how I switched up. I
yeah,
still was kind of out there, but like I didn't like. Look, I'm gonna tell you this truth. If you want to get down, you can get down. If not, then not. But I'm not about to break your heart. I'm gonna tell you straight up.
yeah,
Like I ain't really feeling this. But if you can still stay around. So that's what I
yeah.
changed. Like
I got
I kept it. I kept it more real and like because you said like that's somebody's daughter. I don't want nobody breaking my daughter's heart.
you. Right.
Uh,
That,
but
that, that dip don't last forever either. Like I was back out there. I was back out there, in a few months. But the first few months, bro, I was like, yeah, I'm just dad now. So
Yeah, man. So just going back to your insecurities, man, because I think that was real powerful. It's something I never thought about, of course, because I had no sons. But what like do you still have those, and what have you done to, I guess, to manage it?
um so Yes, I still have them, but man, you have to really be. You have to find a blend between being comfortable in your own skin and giving yourself grace, and then trying to improve. Because if you really like, if you really evaluate yourself and you start to list all these things you need to work on, I mean, you'll be depressed every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think it's important to write things down, and then like let's work on one thing. Let's work on one thing this week. I'm not trying to work on everything all at once. Um, I'm not gonna lie. Like, my better half does a she man. When you married to somebody who is not afraid to speak their mind, it's like looking in the mirror every single day. And sometimes you want to throw a sheet over that mirror, but they'll pull the sheet down and still like, "What's up?" What I say. So sometimes like I'll say something and I don't even look at her because I already know she give me that look like, there you go being impatient again. There you go, X, Y, and Z. And so after a while, you start to prepare for that, and you start to get used. So that helps me a lot, honestly. Even though it gets on my nerves, it helps me because it's reminding me that, yeah, you need to be more patient. And honestly, man, prayer, prayer. I've really been working on my prayer life and my thought life. We're getting back into going to church on the regular, and it's a shame to say that because I grew up in the church, and then COVID happened, and then when COVID happened, we never got back on that. You know what I'm saying? After it was
Mhm.
over, we never got back to like going to church on the regular, and then we like recently we were like, yeah, we this is a shame. This is not how we grew up, and so going to church, man. Again, talking to the right people. Honestly, man, like I've been looking for a therapist. Just gonna keep it a buck with you. Or I was looking for a therapist. I'm not gonna get up here and lie. I was looking for a therapist really, really hard a few months back, and it was hard to find the right one. I thought I had one, and as we started talking, she basically told me like, "Look, I think you're great, but really, what my core competency area is not what you need, and so I'm going to send you some recommendations for somebody else." And after that, I was like, you know what, I'm putting a pause on this. It's really, and I'm divulging all my stuff, but man, but it's really it takes a lot of vulnerability to go see a therapist. One, and
It
then
does.
when you do it, and then they tell you basically, look, in so many words, you so jacked up, I'm gonna send you somewhere else. That's not what she said, but that's what my brain heard. My brain heard like, look, bro, your issues is too much for me. Go over here.
Right.
And so, but yeah, to get back to the question, I'm going to get back to therapy. And again, I don't want to paint the picture like I'm Joe Jackson. I'm some bad dad. I'm a great dad. I don't care what nobody say. I'm a great dad. But I'm also conscious of my issues. And so, giving them to God, man, praying, having male figures and people in your life who can speak to about those things, and then my better half, man, keep me on my toes. So those are three things that helps me, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely is to have good to have a wife that's going to speak her mind. My wife did the same thing. She ain't an alpha, but she gonna let me know though. She gonna let me
Yeah,
know. That trying keep me right though. But it's
yeah,
good that you're getting back on that, walking back with Christ and get back in your word. I mean, really being a father, because God is a good father. It really helps me in my walk with Him as a father as well. Like really just
mhm,
looking at what how He treats us, like what the Bible says about how He treats His children, how He loves His children. I mean, even going to the very basics of the gospel, sending His only Son to die for us. I mean, I was listening to some guy speak, and he was like, he watched his son die, right? Because he got in an accident or something like that. He said, I would have done anything to save him. He said, but God could do everything and chose not to save his
yeah,
son. He said, that made me realize the power of God's love. And so just when you like start to see those parallels in your own life, and in Christ and all that kind of stuff, it makes you want to be a better man and walking that, and just continue to spread that gospel to your kids as well.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I had like a real, like, I guess you call it come to Jesus moment a few years ago, where it was like, do I really want to leave this earth not being the best person that I was supposed to be? Do I really want to die being 65% of Tremaine instead of the 100 that God has put in me? Right? I remember having that feeling, because I was like, right now, bro, you at the 60. You at the 60. You know what I'm saying? You are not. You got 40 more percent, maybe more than that, to improve and grow. And it's like, but you got to do the hard work. You got to do the work. And it is for somebody to say change is easy, they lying. Change is hard. These pathways in this brain, we have been setting them the wrong way for X amount of years, and then to try and change them, it takes practice, it takes failure and getting back up, it takes prayer, it takes consistency, it takes getting in your word. And the prayer and the word are the things that I have really been trying to be more consistent with. I mean, I've always been back and forth, but back and forth don't cut it. I've been trying to be more consistent with those things.
Yeah, man. Hey, you hit it on the head. Change is hard, man. And then jump make you sometimes want to give up. Like, you're not going to, but like, dang, but like, I gotta stay who I am for real. Because being a father makes you change, being a husband makes you change, having multiple kids because they have different personalities makes you change. You really got to, like you said earlier, reassess yourself and all that kind of stuff. But man, that junk ain't easy.
Yeah, you have to die unto yourself all the time.
Yeah, that's why the words say it.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. And I also think you need to have your healthy outlets too, bro. Like, you need to have the fellowship with the fellas, or whatever. Even if it's gaming, something that you go do that ain't around, that ain't involving getting toe back, putting yourself in sinful situations where you might backslide or you might do some things you regret, right? It's good to have those outlets, bro, because like, change is hard, and sometimes you do need to enjoy your life. Just know that as a man, the enjoyment is the least of your priorities, right? The wife got to be good, the kids got to be good, the job got to be good, the finances need to be good, or at least you thinking and working on all those things. They're not perfect. Before you go and decide that I'm going to have me some R&R. Bake it into those things, because there is such thing as burnout.
Oh yeah,
right. We've been there. Like, yo, bump this. I'm out, or I'm done for the week. Right. We all been there. So I think you should bake in those rejuvenating things that you enjoy.
What you got? I hoop. Thankfully, my wife lets me hoop about 2-3 times a week. So that's my thing. Still doing that, and that really gets it going. And I used to write poetry a lot. I don't write as much anymore. But what's your healthy outlets?
So, man, I hit the gym. I try and hit the gym 4 or 5 days a week. I got a homie that I grew up with, and like, he lives in Garner, and we went through phases where, like, I might see him like twice a year. And we was like, yo, we finna fix that. And so, like, we get up and we have dinner like once a month. I got one of those men I was talking about who I consult and confide in is my uncle. He lives right up the road. And so we get up often for lunch or for dinner. And so, yeah, man, those are two healthy outlets that I do. Guys who married and then about the right things ain't gonna have me out here looking at sin and wishing I was still out there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, those are two things that I do, bro.
Yeah, that discipleship is key.
Yeah,
most definitely. That's why I keep seeking out there, older, younger, same age, just trying to find somebody to continue, like you said, sharpening each other.
Yeah. And since I've been getting back to going to church regularly, I'm getting ready to start joining some of their groups and stuff like that too. I haven't yet, but that's the plan.
That's what's up, man. So I know you play football, right? Did you go to college? I can't remember you say you went to college or
No,
not.
I didn't play collegiate ball. That was one of my biggest regrets is I didn't do the right things, or I didn't do some of the things looking back that I could have done that maybe propel me in that direction. But nah,
Yeah.
I played high school ball though. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you being an athlete though, and having sons, man. I know you said your daughter played too. Sound like you said she play a
She
sport.
she did volleyball and she cheered, but sports was not her. It was not her thing. And
Yeah,
I think it could have been. She just didn't have the desire for it to be. So
yeah.
yeah. But my
Well, I know
boy,
me. If I had sons, I'd be like, "Yo, y'all gotta hoop. Y'all gotta do something." So
yeah,
how
yeah.
hard are you pushing? How are you exposing them? Like, how's that looking?
I'm in the exposure phase right now, and that's another part of me that I have to check because like I'm competitive, bro. Like when it comes to like battling, like I'm willing to die on this field or this court before I give less than
Mhm,
100%. Like I'm gonna leave this
mhm.
field with a dub or almost dead because I put it all out there. You know what I'm saying? I was the kind of athlete that I want to kill the joker on the other side. Like I could cut it off. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't walking around here bloodthirsty, but like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
on
yeah.
the field, I was like I was a dog. I was going to get it. And like honestly, I haven't seen that in my sons yet, and it'd be frustrating me, bro. It'd be making me so mad. And then I have to realize, like, and then my wife is like, "Don't you realize they 9? He 9 years old, and he's 6 years old, and everybody ain't gonna be like you." And yada yada yada. I'm like, all right, hush. But um, so my oldest boy, who's cool with Morgan, Kanan, he's on the spectrum, and so sports is not really his thing. I think art is gonna be his thing. My middle son is showing that he's gonna be an athlete, and so is my youngest. My middle son Zion is playing soccer. He's playing baseball. I really think football is going to be probably the best sport. Looking at like his body
Yeah,
type,
his physique. Yeah.
knowing what his physique is and all that.
Mhm.
He got some wheels on him. But then some of the like jittery stuff that you have to have in soccer, I don't quite see it. I'm not saying he can't. He does pretty good, but I just think on the football field he gonna find it easy. That's what I personally think. As far as his physicality, his psychology, I don't know. He's like he's the best of both of us uh, when it comes to his heart and how nice of a person he is. That's great in life.
But now
It
and
ain't,
that, yeah,
it ain't all that great when you're on the court and you need to go destroy somebody. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And so I've been trying to like he's done flag and I've been trying to like decide if I'm gonna make him play football just once. And I've come to the conclusion like you know what? Sometimes dads you really do know best. And so it's like if I knew he really didn't want to play, I wouldn't force him. I know he wants to play. He's just scared to go try something new. And so I think we had a conversation. I was like, look, man, I think this August let's play. Let's play and let's make a deal. If you hate it, we don't ever have to play it again. And his whole thing was, I'm not gonna know where to be. I'm not gonna know where to stand. I'm like, that's fine. Nobody does. You go out there and you learn it. So I think I'm about to make him play football. And then my youngest wants to play tackle football. I think he's gonna be the one with the drip and the one that just swagged out there, ready to dominate. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does too. What about your
That's
girls? Because girls can be athletes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So my 6-year-old man, she likes gymnastics a lot. I put her in basketball like you. I'm gonna put you in at least one time, see if you like it. She seemed to
Yeah,
like it and they're growing it. So she seemed like she want to play again. I don't know if it's because she wants to make daddy happy or if she really want to. So I'm not sure on that yet. Because she knows I love basketball.
yeah,
But she really loves gymnastics. So I'm gonna get her in a different gymnastics thing. Morgan, she liked volleyball, but she's real artsy too. So she's more gonna stay in the drawing, painting, crafting lane.
right.
And then my 9 and my 7-year-old, that's they live with the mother we was talking about. So 9-year-old seemed like she liked basketball, but I'm not sure they're gonna get exposed to any sports. That's not the kind of life they live over there. And as we talked about before, worried about what kind of things they put in their mind just from a this is what I know mindset, not like ill will, like just what I know. I don't know anything
Yeah,
else, but this certain type of life. You know what I mean? So prayerfully, my input and my impact will draw them to sports, or it's not even just the sports, it's something productive.
Yeah.
So that they definitely worry me a little bit. But like I said, you saying what you said earlier kind of gave me hope, man, because I don't know.
Now you got to put that time in though, and it ain't gonna be as often as you would like, but as long as you're consistently making the effort to put that time in, it will pay off. The dividends will be paid. Trust me. You just gotta be consistent though. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, most definitely. So my 6-year-old is probably the best athlete. That's best most likely to be an athlete. My 7-year-old who lives in South Carolina too, she has the potential too. But it's just I think it's all about exposure on that one. She probably like do some cheerleading or something like that. But I'm really hoping my 6-year-old play basketball. Just I said, just play through high school, I'll be happy. You ain't gotta go to college. Just wait through high school. So hopefully my 6-month-old, she'll play a little bit too. She like watching the game with me, so hopefully she like it.
Your 6-year-old, is she tall like you? Because you're pretty tall.
Yeah, she's one of the shorter ones. Morgan's tall. And then my 9-year-old, she's tall. She's neck and neck with Morgan. She might be even taller than her. I don't know. So she's the tallest one. The 6-year-old, her mom kind of short, so she might be taking after that side. But she had long legs, like she's fast, so like track might be her thing. I'm really hoping I'm an inside sport guy, so I really hope they play inside sports because I never like playing in the elements. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, man. So they all have potential to play.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I was an outside sports guy. It was football and track for me, man. Yeah,
what you do in track?
I was a 100 and 200 guy, bro.
Oh yeah, you was fast. Okay, that's what I want to know. I want to know if you was fast or not.
I was fast. I was football fast. I put it that way. Like if I had daylight on a football field, you wasn't gonna catch me. But I wasn't gonna go win the 100 meters at state. I would win at regionals. I would get to state and then get the doors blown off.
Oh yeah.
So I was fast, but I was like I had a combination of quickness and speed, but I wasn't just straight up a blazer. Nah. But you don't got to be in football. People don't realize that. It's a lot more than just speed. It's a lateral
burst and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you mind talking about your oldest and raising him and having a child on the spectrum and stuff like that?
No, I don't mind, man. That's been a whirlwind. It is a challenge. I'm not, it is challenging, and I've had to definitely grow and stretch as a human, as a father. I've had to get educated about what autism is, realizing that it's not the same for everybody. But early on in his life, we could see something was different, but it's crazy. The first signs were all like positive signs, like, yo, he is crazy smart, or yo, he walking, this bro, he like not even quite 10 months and he walking. He was doing his ABCs early, and then he would do stuff like say his ABCs backwards, right? That might sound easy to try. You can't do it. You might do 3 letters at a time, then you have to think.
Yeah.
Boom, he can just knock them out. And so those first few signs where it was like, yo, okay, we got a genius on our hands. And then as he got older and like some of those social aspects started coming into play, we started to notice like, okay, what's going on? He's struggling with this, or we go to like a crowded space and he would have a hard time. He would do this random thing where he would pick a person out in the crowd that he did not know and cry for him and like ask to go to him. And we was like, yo, what is that? And so what we learned later is, again, I'm still I may never fully understand what it's like for him, but like, imagine a world where your brain doesn't allow you to focus on any particular thing. Like right now, me and you were talking, right? But his brain is noticing everything. It's noticing the bird that just flew by. It's noticing the sound from the HVAC. He's picking up all these different inputs, and he has an extremely hard time zeroing in on on whatever the most important thing is. And so the reason one of the therapists was telling us, or clinicians, I forget the role, but they were telling us that's his mechanism of trying to trying to knock out the noise. Is I'm gonna focus on this one person who's random because I'm trying to block out the noise. And so we took him to get tested, and it was kind of a relief, bro, honestly, to like be able to name it. Um, my wife, when she got the diagnosis, she immediately broke into tears. Like she just sobbed and cried. Me, I didn't cry right then, but what I realized later is she absorbed in an instant what took me several weeks to accept and break down. And so I would find myself crying randomly on a Thursday, a month later, thinking about the diagnosis, thinking about what that meant for him, thinking about this is gonna sound real rough, but like I I was grieving the child I thought that I had that I realized I was never gonna have in him. Now, now that's a limitation I put on my own son because what he can be is still greater than anybody could fathom or imagine, right? There's some great people out here that do amazing things who are on the spectrum. Because once they do focus on something, bro, it's over. So it was hard, man. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. It was hard. It was a lot of like grief of like, yo, he's not gonna be what my limited mind thought he was gonna be. And then you worry about the world, man. The world's a mean place, dude. Like, there's some a-holes out here, man. So, and we have to deal with them kind of people. And like, initially, I was a lot more like, yo, you hurt my son, I'm at your neck. You better be careful. And then I had to learn, like, bro, some people got to be educated just like you had to be educated. Man, like, you hear people throw out the R word, bro. Like anybody that's different, that retarded. I'm just gonna say it. People would say that. Then nobody ever called my son that, but like you become much more like aware of how people are limited in their thinking. I can remember being at a restaurant hearing a dude talk about a kid, and I knew from what he was saying about that kid. I think it was his son, his grandson. I could tell like, oh, that kid has autism. I could just tell because you learn certain things. And like he was calling his own blood like retarded, man. And it was just like I got so mad. I got so mad, like I got up and left the place that I was in. Now, if I could go back, I think I would have the courage to actually approach him in a calm way and like trying to enlighten him on some things. But it was rough, bro. It's still hard because his day to day is not easy. He won't eat certain things. Socially, he wants friends, and it's hard to make friends. So we appreciate people like Morgan who are open to like getting to know somebody who is not typical. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not a typical kid. But the social aspect is rough for him, and we feel for him. Like he had a little meltdown at the school event Saturday. I don't know if people noticed it or not, but like he started crying because X, Y, and Z won't play with me. And so it's hard, man, because it's like you try and give him love and patience, but you also try and let it like make him aware, like, bro, you got to learn how to live with this thing. You can't just always like, you got to learn how to self-regulate for one. You got to learn how to take responsibility because he has an extremely hard time taking responsibility for anything. And so teaching him how to be in the world, live in the world successfully is really like, it's a challenge for us on a day-to-day basis. But we try and balance that also with the love because it's like some of this you can't help. And so we're trying to help him through it. Man, my wife is a rock star, dude. Like the way she just dove in head first, feet first, and got them all the therapies and occupational therapists and the tutors and all this stuff to help him with his school and all that stuff. It's amazing. He's doing a lot better in school, but We don't know what that looks like. 5th grade, 6th grade, middle school, because middle school kids really start being jerks, bro. I
Oh
remember,
yeah.
like, I got more fights in middle school than I ever got anywhere else, because you're dealing with like kids who are they're going into these bigger bodies, but they're still very much immature.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure out what that's going to be for him, but it is a challenge. I've had to learn how to parent him because you can't parent him the same way. You know, I can't expect him. I can tell the other boys, "Hey, go clean up your room," and I'm gonna say it 2 times. After that, there's some consequences. Well, if his brain is not looking at me and focused on me, I don't care how many times I say it. He didn't hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
His brain's on 1,000 other things. So I've had to learn to be patient with him, and I've honestly had to learn techniques to like try and calm him down when he's not regulated. Because you know how I don't know if it's just masculinity or black masculinity, but it's like, oh, you're gonna listen to me, you're gonna do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, and Z. And like I've had to let that die because it has not worked, and I am not perfect at it. That's by no stretch, but I have really learned and accepted like that ain't the way. That's not the way with him. Like, and like a lot of times my prayer to him was like, God, please don't let me mess this boy up. Don't let my limited self mess him up. And I've learned a lot from the failures, man. The times I didn't get it right. So it is a challenge, but to God be the glory. And I know we're gonna have the victory because I want it, and I
Mm-hmm.
work on it, and we work on it. And not to get spooky deep, man, but like I pray for him, man. Like before he existed, me and my wife had, and I don't think she would mind me sharing this, but we had a hard time conceiving initially. And I remember her getting to the point where she was just like, man, I'm over it. If it happened, it happened. But what she was really saying is, I don't think it's gonna happen. Let's just stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like back when I used to seek God, like really fervently seek God, he would give me dreams. I'm not a prophet, but I used to have dreams, and then I would see those dreams come to pass. And so I remember having a dream where there were like two like baby outfits hanging up in my closet, randomly baby outfits. And just as clear as day, God was like, I'm finna give you double for your trouble. Like and I believed it so strongly, I thought I was having twins, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have twins. I had Irish twins because like we had Canaan, and then she was pregnant 9 months later with Zion.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then when she was pregnant with him, God also told me like I forget the exact dream, but in the dream he was born fine, and then he like got sick or something. But then God revealed like he's gonna go through this, but I'm gonna bring him out. He's gonna be all right. I remember having that dream. I didn't tell my wife. I told my mother, and that's why when we were at the hospital when she was delivering, my mama was there. My mama was praying because like I come from church going folks. Like my grandmother was a pastor, and I was a heathen, but I come from church. And so my mom was there, and she was praying over everything. And my wife was like, "Yo, what's going on?" And I told her later, like, "All right, this is the dream I had. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to make it worse and worry while you were pregnant."
Right.
But yeah, come back to it, man. So like, I don't think God would divulge all this to me if He was just gonna have a terrible, rough life and always be dependent on us. I really think He's gonna go out here and do some things in this world. It's just that we got to make sure we're not in the way. That He doesn't, because of God and because of our tutelage, and not in spite of us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's my prayer, God. Don't let it be in spite of me because I was in the way and I was a terrible dad and I was a toxic dad and all these things. Let it be because He saw love from us. The love you showed Him, it came from you to us, and we gave it to Him instead of Him having to get it outside of us. Um, and so it's definitely a challenge, man. But he's stretched me more in the past 3 years, and I've probably been stretching my whole life. I had to like, if I'm going to be his dad, I got to go out here and learn how to parent his
Mm-hmm.
kids. just he's not neurotypical, the way his brain works. So yeah, I rambled on that one. My bad.
Bro, no, you good. It's all about you, man. Hey, this is like I said, this is for the archives, man. I just had one question about that when it comes to raising your other sons. Do they ever, you know how you have to raise them different? You say you have to raise them
Yes.
differently,
Yeah.
right? Do they ever notice it and like speak on it? Like, are you having to explain why you're doing certain things?
No,
Like I don't.
no,
Yeah.
I don't, because they also live with him, and they probably understand him better than we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're closer to his level. Man, like I said, my middle son he different, bro. I've never seen a kid with that much love and humanity ever in my life. He the kind of kid that you take him out to buy him something, and he'd be like, "Well, what about my brothers?" And like sometimes I'll mess with him and be like, "I'm not getting nothing else," and he'll say, and I'm not a jerk, like I'm joking, right? And he'll say, "Okay, well I'm gonna get this, and I'm just gonna eat part of it, and I'm gonna take it back home." Like he that kind of kid, you know what I'm saying? And then I'd be like, "Man, I'm just checking your heart. Go ahead, go get your brother 2 more." So he's always looked out for Canaan. Now the oldest, now Canaan and Levi, Levi like to press people buttons. So like a lot of times they fight, but also Levi, he's 6. And so he's growing and maturing. And the more he grows and matures, he's learning like, oh, okay, I need to look out for my brother as well. Even though he's my older brother, I can tell he's different here. He needs help here. Let me help him out. So for the most part, man, it's all hands on deck as far as like the whole jealousy. Oh, you treating me different. Like, nah, we don't have none of that. Now, what we do try and do is make sure that the other 2 get their time to be just normal kids, right?
Right.
Go play with your friends, go do these things, so you're not always having to like be a caretaker for your brother, because that's not fair either. So yeah, we don't have, thankfully we haven't had the kind of kids who don't have the understanding. They innately understand that their brother has challenges. He has autism. They know what that is, and they understand it really well. I feel like Zion knew something was up with Canaan before we had a diagnosis, bro. Honestly. I remember one time we was at the barbershop. And if you know anything about kids with autism, again, everybody's not the same, but like that loud noise, them clippers on their head, bro. For them, it's like you taking a lawnmower to the dome. You know what I'm saying? I know that now. I didn't know it then, right? And so he would go to the barbershop and show his entire, you know what. And I'm in there embarrassed. All the dudes looking at me like, yo, like they ain't saying nothing, but they're like, you get control of your kid, And like, so like he got so bad, I like, yo, I took him out the chair, like, yo, I'll be right back. Take him to the car. I'm getting ready to spank him. Let's go. I'm about to spank the boy. And Zion, man, he put me to shame, right? I'm getting ready to spank my son. Again, I'm not abusive. I don't want the whole world thinking I'm out here like snatching them up uncontrolled. None of that. But like I grew up with black corporal punishment as a thing. And so I'm getting ready to spank him because he's being unruly in the barbershop. And I get to the car because I'm not doing it in front of everybody. I don't do that mess. And I'm getting ready to spank him. And Zion grabs his hand, right? And he says, "Daddy, I got him." Bro, I didn't cry, but like I felt my eyes.
Yeah.
I felt my allergies kick in. And it was like, his younger brother could tell something that I couldn't tell. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost embarrassed about it, but it stopped me in my tracks that like he really didn't want to see him get a spanking. And I said, all right. And I didn't spank him. And we went back in there and got the cut. And so I say all that to say, yes, it's been difficult, man. Yes, I've failed and I've had a lot of triumphs. Because it's hard when they lose it. He will straight up just lose it in the crib. And like people outside might think, oh my God, like somebody is dying in there. And no, he's just having an episode. And what I've learned to do is go to him no matter how mad I am about it, because I won't order in my house. Go to him and wrap my arms around him and give him a big hug. Because part of it is a sensory thing. He needs to be regulated, and pressure helps regulate him. So I give him a big hug and say, man, look, you out of control right now. You wilding. I love you. So I'm hugging you, but you gotta stop this. Right. But I gotta talk to him like that. I can't talk to him like, you know how, hey, you better go sit down and hey. No, I can't do that. It don't work. And it took me a while to learn that. But my Zion helped me learn that when he grabbed his hand and he said, Daddy, I got him. It took all my fire, bro.
Yeah, that's a God moment right there.
Yeah, all my fire was gone. That my little baby jumped in and said, "Nah, you're not gonna hit my brother right now." Yeah.
Wow.
So it's difficult, man, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's making you a better man. It's drawing you closer to God.
For sure.
Sure it is. The prayers is not going unanswered. Sometimes it just takes a while to see them.
Yeah, that part. And,
That's what's up, man.
Last thing I'll say, man. A lot of times we want God to answer all these prayers, and a lot of times he don't. It's not that he can't. He just like he waiting on your journey. He waiting on you to get to the end of that journey of maturity in certain areas. And then sometimes when you actually realize, like, man, I prayed for this thing, I wanted this thing, and once you get to a certain level of maturity, you like, I see why he didn't give it to me, bro. Because like, if I had got that, I'd have jacked it all up. I'd have messed it all up. And like now, I'm so much more resourceful. I'm so much more. My waters are a lot more still than they were 10 years ago. Still waters run deep, right? And so it's like you got to go through some things, man. And if you don't go through them, you're not getting that refining process that you need to go through. So yeah,
that's why he lets you go through it too, so you can be refined.
Yeah, he makes sure you don't break in the process, but you're gonna go through it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He never leave or forsake, man. I mean, that's what drew me closer to God. Like, I actually started living for Him because I was a heathen too. Grew up in it, dad, pastor, all that kind of stuff for a little while. But when I went through with the mother and my oldest biological too, that's when I really was like, all right, I must start living for you. And that's what really drew me in. I ain't looked back. Well, it took me a while to get there, but when I got there,
let's separate two things: salvation and sanctification are two different things.
Yes.
Right.
Talk.
And so we make a decision to honor God and accept Jesus as our Savior. That's one thing. But that's down here. It's a major thing, but that's down here. That's the salvation, the sanctification process. Man, that take the rest of our life, if we're honest.
Yeah, it do.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully some of the big things you get out the way, right? Some of the life-threatening craziness that, like, you get that out the way, hopefully. But the reality is, man, we're saved by grace, man. And that sanctification don't happen overnight. It don't happen maybe it happened overnight for somebody. I ain't met him.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, that's part of the development we talked about. I mean, that's sanctification, and that's basically the same exact process, except for the spiritual and the physical realm.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it is. There's a theological term called progressive sanctification. Like, you get saved, like you just basically explained that. You get saved, and you progressively get sanctified to be more and more holy, to be more and more like Christ. So yeah, I mean, yes. Still being sanctified from some things, my brother. Yeah. I'm definitely saved. Yeah.
Yeah. And man, I've seen, man, I don't want to talk too much. I've struggled with something, and I was like, I just started praying, like, God, you know my heart, I'm trying to be better. I'm really trying to be better. And like, I forget that verse, but it says, like, I forget how the verse goes, but it basically says God will rescue you from sin in the midst of like you like struggling with something. If you really try, right? If you really try, you seek Him. And so like I was struggling, and I prayed about it, and then like boom, I had this diversion happen. I had to go deal with this over here at work or whatever. And I looked back later that day, and I was like, God, thank you. I saw that. I saw that. I was having a weak moment, but instead of like lying to myself or whatever, I just went to my knees and I started praying. And then before I realized it, that it was gone because I had to go be present with something else, and it was
Mhm.
gone. And then later that day, I said, "Thank you, thank you." So just continuously trying, man, and you're gonna fail, but get up and
Yeah,
keep going.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's the verse talking about there's no temptation that like he don't know, and he always provide a way of escape.
that
I think
part, the way of escape.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah.
because there's sometimes I found a way, but I was like, I ain't taking that way this time.
What's the way? Look, to
I'm-
keep it 100. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
keep it a buck, man. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hey man, so man, I always like to do this, man, because you got young kids, and you got an older daughter too, but you got your sons are young, man. I always like to end off with, leaving something for them to hear, because when they're gonna listen to this, they're gonna hear your love for them and all that kind of stuff. So give them some nuggets, or just express your love for them, just a message to them, man, so that they when they come back and hear it one day, they hear something directly from you.
Man, what would that message be if I could? I think the one thing I would say to my children is that you are 1000% loved. Um, the best part of me is honestly because of you. Like whatever goodness I did was honestly because I was trying to be better for you. I was really trying to set an example for you. I like to think and hope that by the time they would hear this, that I'll spare them from some iniquity because I broke the chain, so they didn't have to. Um, and they're gonna go through things and have their own problems, but just that I love each of you individually, and I'm proud of you. And go out there, be who God has for you to be. There are no excuses. You were raised with love. You were raised with goodness, and there's much expected of you because there's much in you. And so I love you. Give yourself grace, but go out there and do some amazing things and be amazing people first and foremost. I think I would say that your character above everything else, because your reputation precedes you, and if you have nothing else, you should have character. Be of good character. So yeah, I would say those things to my kids, but most of all, love, man. I love y'all. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, this is episode 122. Hope everybody stay blessed.
Appreciate you.